juice I'm on? 42. 42. Let's just go ahead and do it anyway. Greetings, don't judge your mama and whomever else, judge yourself. Nah, let's get on to the source of the creator, the most high, making all this possible. My hair is already growing back. Ancestors known and unknown, I shave for the highest good of all. My hair is already growing back. I just wanted to all grow in. So I kind of trimmed it all so it can grow in at the same moment. You get where I'm going with it. Anywho, wow, I just came across a video. I'm definitely probably going to do a part 2 to this because there's so much coming up around this topic, bro. Like, I had to share the video. I just realized I do not have my link on my Instagram, on my YouTube, but I have to share that. I just had one of them random purging moments, like crying, because it's like one of those moments, those clarity moments where you don't want to live a certain way, but you realize you have been, even when you didn't want to. Meaning like survival. The video I came across like struck a nerve almost like immediately. It was just talking about how you should cherish people in your life who have went through traumas early because they naturally can detect, bullshit or, stuff like that. Now I'll be the first to say absolutely. And now it can seem like a gift and curse in that way because you don't want to be that way in a way. It's like the survival instinct. And it's just now like now I'm 36, so like now I'm coming to the awareness of not just how much, even growing up in that traumatic experience, growing up in that, and how much now I even despise being even close to it. Why is this doing this? So why even like want to have no dealings or even be close to people, even close to proximity to anything that reminds me of that, like real talk. And that being said, it's just saying like the approach, the awareness, like to life now is completely different than how I would in building something, in building a new way of life, empire, like building your own empire, building your own life, being that authoritative person or taking back your power is becoming that authority first in your life. That's what that sovereignty is. So in rebuilding your life, that is repositioning yourself that which wouldn't be normalized like as a pond, or you can be more of the director for some, when you come to that realization, like you can be the main characters. It's all how you perceive it. But other than that, it's the awareness, man, because I had a moment where I had to cry because I was like, it just hit me because the sister that also on there was saying, because she said she studied psychology, was saying how people who go through trauma real early as a child, their brain is wired to pick up on like nonverbal cues, facial expressions, things that hint at potential dangers. Bro, I express to y'all all the time, like my own personal growth and experiences. I'm gonna even get into the survival mode of like how the tables have turned, where the first is being made last and the last is being made first, because this is a crowning that's happening, initiation. Because just imagine the people who grew up in traumas early, who y'all deemed to be put on these pedestals and so forth. That was divinely orchestrated just for those who, let's say, are people say dark empaths or empaths, or just say someone who's more have a heightened awareness or more spiritual discernment. This is not to exclude that people that are, again, I keep telling y'all, doesn't matter their status, they still too have spiritual significance, but that doesn't mean that they are spiritually pure or that they are balanced or that they are secure. Doesn't matter what they have on the surface. So going back to what I was saying is, for me, man, like, I'm like, finally, this is the most I've allowed my nervous system in over 30 something years to be regulated through consistency of not just doing what I love, but being in alignment with what source of the divine, most high, whatever you want to call it, is calling me to do. And in building that from authenticity and integrity, not perfectionism, but building from a place of having to acknowledge not just the survival mode, but the things that kept me in balance. So for me, it's like, man, I was crying. I was like, oh my gosh, like, because it was so fucking real, bro. Because it's like a lot of people aren't realizing, which is beneficial, how when you really step away and do some living and you start to really pour into yourself and you start to be more compassionate for yourself, you start to nurture yourself and so forth, you're nurturing the parts of you that not only didn't get that nurturing, but you didn't realize then, but now you realize now how much of survival and how much of the environment was so dangerous. So in this purpose or this calling upon my life or whatever, just everyone has it and they can choose to do it. Think about how the world is shifting. A lot of shit that was created off survival. What keep coming up, I got to get it out. It's like when you think about music and when you think about how the industries and how certain stuff, the manipulation around keeping people in survival, keeping people dysregulated. That's not to say like now. I'm fucking just being honest, bro. When you think about the effects and the power of music, and then like when you think about it from a place of like, what is the music initiating? For one, depending on the people, definitely it will initiate a lower chakra. And that lower chakra that's why music, I'm just channeling this shit. That's why music is so powerful, because it literally, it not just initiate, but it can be so, for some people who are not secure, but we've all been there, that shit can be triggering. That's why it has so much of an effect on people. Like when people say the frequency of the music and so forth, that is very vital. At the same moment, it's also what has been created and destroyed from that music. So even though, you know how they say, well, not they, but the physical vessel leaves, but the vibration or the frequency, you can't destroy energy. So even that accumulation through everything, all of that energy it still either has to go somewhere, or I don't want to use the word oversaturated like reincarnation, but recreated or reproduced somewhere through something somewhere in the universe or in the, and so forth. So again, it's like, it reminds me of the movie Fallen, like how those energies and spirits or principalities and stuff like that energetically has to find another host or find another thing and so forth. So that's the beauty of alchemy and things that transfer through this and energy and so forth. So anywho, the music aspect, think about the fact of how the music has been used and being used for what, and specifically targeting who. So now, recognizing that it's still a form of survival. I've been picking up on Bobby Hemming a lot, and I feel like just the channeling of that is him reminding us that of the how I mentioned before, well, what I've mentioned or shared this message before, but it relates to what he has spoken about, is the fact of when you look at the origins, or when you also look at the fact of how, again, music, when you look at music, arts, and all these things, when it comes to writings, these things are the root of or origin of humanity or people with soulful music. All these different things are frequency and vibrations and energy. So anywho, moving forward, it's going to have effect on people depending on their positioning, not so much positioning, but their opening, or how could I say, their generating of chakra. Like if their chakra systems are open or closed and so forth, that's the beauty of why this music, the arts and so forth, can be not only just an initiation, but also open up, or almost like say, like if I'm going to use an analogy, like a chakra, certain things that haven't operated a certain way, and now certain people come along, as it always been, and they're using, or certain things initiate their heart chakra or opens up something and so forth. So that's the power of music. That's what's happening in the shift. That's what's happening right now with the arts and the reinventing. We already are in the new age and the new dawning of a new. It's already, it's already happening. The new order of things that, again, being restored. So a lot of this is very significant to what I was, getting into of survival. Going back to what Bobby had mentioned, he's, saying how some people won't come out of that lower chakra, meaning that survival instinct. This is why you see people act the way they do. It's a representation of the fucking lower chakra. And again, when you are wired, I'm telling you, this is the thing of, people say the dark night, if you want to call it the dark night of the soul, or people being enlightened, the age of the Aquarius, the golden age, all this shit is purposeful. All of us, we are just continuance of those grand masters, grand teachers, and so forth. It's just no difference than fuckers coming along who was teaching, hatred and keeping that going. Again, they were masters of that shit. Just like you have people who are masters of love. From my perspective, in learning how to be a master of love, you have the duality of that. At some point, you have to learn to either be a master of hate, or have hatred for self, or some type of operating in some type of lower chakra or survival. You think about it. When you look at the music and shit, like that's operating in a lower nature, lower frequency, like a self-hatred. So it doesn't matter the color and all this other shit. It really shows you that, it just shows you where the person is operating in for survival. Think about what racism and self-hatred is. All that shit is fueled off a lower chakra. So think about this, what's happening now. I'm just chatting, I'm going. When people such as ourselves, when you look at the origins of certain things, this is not all people, because kinfolk don't make you kinfolk, But when certain individuals are choosing not to operate, that are anointed, that are appointed and so forth, that are called forth, the last being made first, think about most of those people who were holding that lower frequency of being last. And so they naturally stayed in survival, and then the system fed off that survival, ciphering off of that survival. I was even picking up the fact that I keep telling y'all, when folks fucking make peace with themselves and certain shit, you gotta realize everything collapses from the foundations of that. You don't want to go out there and be fucking violent no more, because you realize through the programming, through the wiring, not just of your mind, but of your system that you held on to systematically. Guess what? You don't want to go out there and keep living the same way. You don't want to live amongst the same people who are living in survival. So a lot of the celebrities and people of certain status, they are operating at a certain fucking frequency for the survival of what? The old world. That shit is done. So certain people now are bringing forth something that is authentic. that is more powerful, that outweighs, that's bringing, not just outweighs, but it's like when you balance in the scale, that outweighs to bring things more in stableness and balance. So a lot of shit is rebalancing itself. That duality still doesn't mean that you don't have the power to destroy and create. We all have that. It just shows the imbalances that being in tipping the scales and being more in survival instinct. Operating in, your brain being wired to pick up on danger and so forth like that. So if you're operating more in the lower chakra rather than the heart, rather than certain aspects of that, think about that. That lower chakra, and those lower chakras, a lot of those places, people just operate here. They never rise here to the heart or up here. So that's why when you talk to certain people from the throat, from the crown and so forth, when they don't have a connection to the divine, it stops right there. So then they go back to what's familiar, which is the lower nature. And throughout eons, throughout generations, throughout things ancestrally, guess what? We're still going to progress. Those who know that these people, whatever the fuck they're doing, they're supposed to be doing that. And the ones who will be subjected to that fear mongering or to certain shit are those who are not secure. Most of the times, those who are not, some people call it NPCs, but most of the time, people who probably have spirits and not on a soul level or even to the depths of that. So everything has a significant balance and security, or to restabilize things. As the feminine energy rises again, it has to rise from the depths of that which it comes from. If you're a garden, or you as a tree, or your generation hasn't been watered properly, then most likely your roots are rotten or dry. So that represents to think about the root chakra. If the women haven't lived and watered themselves or been watered because of their heart chakras being closed, or because of their hearts being closed off and being guarded, or them not even having foundations where they learn or know the importance of women who were self-sufficient, because that's what's being restabilized. That's always been here. That's the beauty of people learning what it is to be self-sufficient. The source within them. People call it God, God or whatever it is. Just all of these things where it's stabilizing again. Imagine generations that women who water themselves and then teach their daughter to. So guess what? That's a form of not divination, but a form of divine protection. So that they know what type and who to be around, what type of men, not just men, but what type of spiritual discernments they need to have in deciding and discerning what type of men, individuals, and people to connect with. Just saying. So a lot of this shit that is unfolding is a part of that. That's what the powers that used to be in the people that are in certain status. Again, I don't give a fuck who it is. I know when you have your first eye open, you know exactly who is. You know exactly the people now who are gonna be desperate to stay afloat and so forth. Man, it's been plenty of people that came along telling us these are not the people. And then no matter their skin suit, it don't matter what they look like, and no, these are not the people that's going to shift shit. They are a part of the initiation, and they know it's done. And that's the beauty of it. So going back to where I was talking about the survival mode, that's one of the greatest things that for some of us that it wasn't just the gift of this discernment. That's a part of it. Because think about if you didn't see, this is the beauty of the initiation for a lot of us that came into this deep awareness now. That trauma that was stored was the initiation for a lot of us now to be discerning in the spirit. Not just the physical, because the physical will have you just surviving, and that survival is the stored trauma. But then when you become aware that that trauma was a part of my initiation to bring balance into what I see in the realms in the spirit, and be discerning, like, oh, now I realize when I was around these people why I was going through so much shit. Because I realized they had so much shit on them. They was going through whatever attachments and everything they had going on. So now as the divine say, okay, I want you to see this, but I want you to realize I'm going to take you through this, but it's not going to destroy you. It's to initiate you. And y'all think that other people in life that don't matter their status aren't going through the same shit? You think that just because of their status that they're not still living in survival? That's the last being made first right now. Because those people are in survival. How so, you say? If their survival was based off you being in survival, then when you're no longer in survival, now they're forced to also go through the same fucking lessons. Go through the same healing. It doesn't matter how much money and their status that they have. No one's exempt. I keep reminding y'all that. No one's exempt. So when you think about a celebrity, it's no difference in people in family and certain in levels of stuff. Some people can call me the celebrity of my family. I don't have to subscribe to that term. All I see is a title. Whether you call it a certain people, politician, whatever it is, all of this shit is a title. These people beyond what they look like on the physical still got vices, still got entity attachments, still got shit they dealing with, still probably going through initiation, still probably going through something. Y'all don't realize survival is just like those people going out there, and y'all think that ain't survival when they got all that fucking security around them. They not as secure as you think they are. Let me tell you something, if you were so high ranking, because outside of physical, because y'all get so, that's the veil that's been lifted. If they were so secure spiritually, they wouldn't be concerned about how much security they need to protect them. Because when you get so secure within yourself, people can see you. They know not to fucking touch with you or mess with you. And then also you will have the discernment and guidance to see. For some foresee, for some to have that, the divine will remind you of this person. Don't go around them. They got some shit on them. Yeah, and I keep telling y'all, the roles has shifted already. One of my videos, I need to share it on this new page, but it talks about how people get confused earthly rank with spiritual rank. Y'all don't know these folks, bro. Y'all don't know these people. They too are going or will go through the same thing. And for some of them, I keep telling y'all, they about to lose it all. That's not wishing nothing on their life. No, they came here to lose it all. And people are being initiated, already being through initiation, are going to be a part of their enlightenment. Think about that. Think about the confusion around. For some of y'all actually think you came here to obtain material. But what if the divine was saying, hey, I want you to actually go through the process of learning the importance of enlightenment or coming into self-awareness before you obtain it, so that you can actually show and teach others the importance of, hey, I'm just as authentic and with integrity. I'm just as secure within myself with or without this shit. What if you come to show them that? The ones who did obtain it through certain things that you don't know about. Because if they did, y'all going to realize how divine protection is and how important it is, realizing I need you to get spiritually equipped before you actually go around these people who have these attachments to them that you probably would have never known nothing about. This is why a lot of people have got associated or almost like pimped out spiritually when they do run off to a Los Angeles or run off to certain cities and run off to a certain place and not realizing what they signed up for. And they never come out of it. And it's not a horrible experience. It's not a horrible thing, because actually when they do leave this world, in that vessel, they still had an opportunity to evolve. That's the thing about when you hear people elaborate about reincarnation. It's lessons. And there's some people that are of high ranking, meaning that they're not coming to do the same shit. And this goes into people that knows more into depth. If it doesn't resonate, it doesn't resonate. But people that know, go into depth about past life things or things that you didn't come here to do. It's not. It might have been about you in the past life, but it ain't about you now. It's bigger than you. And a lot of people grave lessons they're going to learn through these initiation, because Aries season, what I keep picking up is that I keep picking up significance of celebrities simply because nobody has seen their inner child. They've gotten so far away from their inner child. And they too are not exempt from the evolution of the healing and the unraveling of things that's happening right now. They're not exempt. Y'all got to realize, to whom is given, much is required. They were giving through whatever principalities, they were giving these platforms positioning for purpose. I keep reminding y'all that. And they've accumulated whatever material wealth. It doesn't matter if they're celebrities or not. They've accumulated so many things to where, again, the judgment. It's like in tarot, they go through the judgment. They go through those things being revealed to them, such as like the Fool card. Like, that's the thing about people such as myself and everybody knowing the Fool. It's like you going through something and, oh, I've gotten to this place. And then the whole time the divine revealed to you, no, you got into this place, but I had to keep telling you it was never really about what you obtained. It's something still more deeper. You still have an influence. So think about the people who have fooled themselves through their accomplishments. They fooled them. Some of them are getting the self-realization of the Fool card right now. The biggest names on the world stage. And for some of them, I'm just picking up on some people, like, I ain't calling no names, but for some of them, even the ones that you can just tell by the way, the lifestyle that they live. I look at a lot of them, it's like they're crying out. I see it no different than people being on stage who, when you see those people like push their kids into try to be stardom, let me tell you something. As much as people, shout out to Sister Solara, she talked about this. A lot of those people aren't even supposed to be in those positions. Some people call it destiny swapping, yeah. But let me tell you something. It's like trying to walk in my shoes and knowing you don't fit them. So that's the thing about what a lot of people, they're so familiar with certain people being in a position that, as I said before, it's going to happen so swiftly because a lot of these people, it's not going to resonate with a lot of people. That's not even their original gifts. Let's just say that. And Solara will tell you more about that through her videos. She goes into depth about that, those who are ready for things as such. Because a lot of you in this restabilization or recalibration of things, it's no surprise now that you have the utmost confidence into doing what you're doing. Because now the switching of hands, or how you say that, like the turning of tables, a lot of people ain't gonna be ready for the things that, like, just think about how like people try to cut corners or do shit on their way up, right? And like they say, the devil comes to collect, or the spirit comes to collect. And it's going to be more and more people, just as you saw with people that were like, I'll just say the 90s person who was in position that was, I'll give him a name of like, not even a puppet master because he was being puppeteer, but well, not puppeteer, but ring master, like of a circus. So you gotta realize, like on the levels of things, a lot of these people were ring masters, and so it's like I also pick up on the fact of like and this is just different levels when you think about yourself, family, and on different perspectives. Different levels of things. It's like you look at your family dynamic, the narcissist, the person that wants to control everything and make sure you don't come into who you are. It happens in increments. It happens in levels. So you know how they say new levels, new devils. It doesn't. With every point of clarity or insight and so forth, there still comes with the duality of things, lessons, karma, and so forth. It's the integrity and authenticity through whatever it is that even when you be yourself, because the world is not used to people being who they are, then I have no doubts and questions about, no matter who their status or what it is, that if not all and most people at a point in time were ruled or being ruled by or succumb by their lower nature and through survival and so forth. So when you look at people in certain positions, they're only fucking doing what they know. That's why the divine sees us like little children. It doesn't surprise me what nobody in this world what people do. As Bobby said, the greatest knowledge on earth is knowledge of self. That's why however you evolve and elevate, do you fucking know who you are? So when people come along and try to deter you and remind you of who you were or how you should be and so forth, do you know who you are? Know thyself to show thyself approved. Not to prove nobody else. Because those people are going to still be there. And your reminder is going to be realized like either I know I used to be here or just a familiarity of what people, they still reminded it. Through their reminders is that they're going to show you that they either haven't evolved, and then that's just also the discernment in it. It doesn't matter their status. It doesn't matter who they are. I will be just as discernment from a family member I used to talk to just as much as a fucking person that I just met out the street or who, whatever their status is. Bro, you're not, whatever world you lived in, or sis, whatever world you lived in, and everybody used to want to be like, oh, it's such and such. Don't look for that shit over here. Because, you see, that's the thing, the difference with a lot of people. I can go be around what people in their world, and their reality deem as a celebrity, and I'll just be like, what's up? Oh, like, you doing business with them. You're just a regular fucking person, having a human experience. What is fucking more what makes you more valuable? What makes you more valuable? You still going through shit, just like I'm still going through stuff. Does it matter who has more money? To you, it may. But that's because people have built their fucking identity in their empire, in their world, their kingdoms, whatever it is. They built, because that's what the world has fed y'all. And that's what people have built it off of. So think about that when I talk about survival. I had to watch the empire that my family, or let's say whomever you grew up with, bro, this is deep. People built empires off of fucking trauma. Y'all gotta realize the old world narrative was built off narcissism, preying on our childhood wounds and so forth. So even what we're doing, that's walking in our authenticity, honoring our inner child, it's literally gonna mirror back to people of certain status, doesn't matter who they are. It's gonna collapse every person as you stand into who you are. And you're going to be looked at as probably what they call karmic, the devil, evil, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Simply because you choose to walk into your sovereignty. But you don't realize you walk your walk on the way out this motherfucker. So how the fuck you going to tell me not to walk my walk? not to walk in my authenticity? How you gonna tell me to do some shit you never done? Like, this is the shit that's beautiful about it. You think I would want the beauty of this shit? It's like, I don't want you to be no follower. You should be wanting to lead your own fucking life. Think for yourself. Live for yourself. Because that's the thing about being a cycle breaker and generational curse breaker. The energy opposing or the people who don't want to transmute and alchemize that shit are the people that are mostly disgusted are the spirits or the entities or whatever it is that can no longer have be accessible or attached to you. It ain't just moving away because you still got to work through that shit. Those addictions, whatever it is, that what was familiar. It doesn't make sense to people when they realize, how are you living a life like that? Cause my mind ain't on survival and danger no more. Am I still operating through that? Yes, because it was wired that way. That's the thing about the nervous system. That shit hit me. I was like, whoa. And then once you come into the awareness how that not just only affects you, your learned behavior patterns and so forth, what do you think how that affects the music, the kids and the coach, all that stuff? You don't see people arguing up against it who have all this money, all these people want to be like people, like us or certain people. They want to model after that. How the fuck y'all don't want to model after peace, but you want to model? Look at the world. Look how people want to be like, want to portray themselves to be gangster, to be all this stuff or whatever it is. They want to that what makes you the blueprint, the trendsetter. So what the fuck I want the kids to model after the fact that, no. Listen, I just literally at the park the other day, I wasn't even in survival. I had to be authentic with some kids because I knew at a time, naturally, I had my kids around me. I played one-on-one with this little kid and they start getting disrespectful. They start talking crazy. I naturally went into not even fight or flight. I didn't even go in survival. I went into integrity mode. I went into being myself. I had to remind them, I know what time. You gotta, it's like you ain't talking to the child, to the kids, because that's what, why would you, because to them, people are like, why you arguing with them? No, you talking to the fucking spirit. I know who you are. I was like you. I know who you are. Because in those moments, that energy wants to make it, because anger is righteous. Because those kids got so disrespectful. One kid was talking about, you will die just because I was telling. I'm like, yo, pause. What you say? You have, because what it is, what most people don't see, in integrity and being upright in who you are, you're not only protecting your inner child, because I know what was familiar. I know those kids were in survival. I know what I could just, you begin to pick up on the fact of the foundation that they have and the self-sabotaging foundation that eventually that will come. You can foresee it because it's almost like you already know the energy already. You're familiar with that. But you also have to be reminding them that there's a balance. What you put out is what you get. But at the same time, through love, I'm going to let your ass know. I'm not, I just know you don't have a father around. But I'm going to let you know this ain't that. From a place of authenticity and love and integrity. I'm not going to disrespect you. I'm going to let you know this ain't that. I said with me, you can say that, and my kids right there, hold on. Let me let you know something. This could have went another way. That's why we got to be in integrity with these kids. This could go another way because somebody else might respond differently. And that me speaking and saying something like that is foretelling or speaking something as if just like a warning, or if you don't learn this lesson now through discipline, then there's going to be somebody else that's going to respond and react how I wouldn't. Because I had to see the bigger picture. That's why I be telling people, survival mode will have you seeing just the tree. And when you're not able to water the tree, then you won't see the importance of, in watering the tree, you produce fruit that produces seeds that builds the forest. So a lot of people don't know that you won't be able to see the forest from the trees. You don't just build, that's the importance of it, starts with you, your individual self. See, my kids was the part of the forest. I was the tree. Those other kids, in that moment, I had to realize, like, oh, okay, I know what I'm dealing with. But my kids had to see, this is what, seeing their father in just a man, stand in his authority for not only my protection, protecting my inner child, but for them. For my son to see, like, hold on, how these kids are talking and so forth, you know it's coming. I've seen it before. I've been around it. So that's the beauty of the awareness of, it's almost like you see in past, present, and future. But the present is in that moment. Yeah, that's a perfect analogy. Me being present and being stern in who I am, and my kids who are 5 and 1.5, and then seeing that they are more like of their elder to my kids, present, past, and future. Because my kids are smaller. So the past aspect is me knowing that I was there. But I'm also still there with my kids. It's like I was there too small. But the difference is that if I don't be in integrity and stand up for myself and stand up for, let them see that authenticity of their father being in righteous anger, their father willing to not only protect himself, but then, because y'all don't realize, like, it doesn't matter the environment. It's also the spiritual warfare that those kids have to go on to, devices. Seeing kids walk, them being out all day and so forth, being exposed to shit. Because once they're exposed to an adult young, once they're exposed to stuff young, guess what? That's putting them in a mindset, that's wiring their mind and subconscious mind, planting seeds there that this is life. This is all I have. So for a lot of them in my messages, being a vessel, is to enlighten people to be able to see the fucking forest from the trees. To see the awareness around, it doesn't matter your status. I don't care about that. It doesn't matter who you are and where you are and what money you have and all like this. Listen, the divine operates. And what they say, God watches over fools and kids. And we all been there. Because at a point in time, we all were kids. And we somewhat, in some way, through our inability, through our own ignorance, are going to be fools. That's the beauty of remaining a student. In that moment, that was a teachable moment. Because I don't feel shame and guilt around letting them fucking kids know, hey, this ain't that. What you ain't gonna do, because I've been through it before. What you ain't gonna do is that. Because it's me showing them, it just shows the presence of someone not being there to keep them structured, to let those little boys know and girls know. Because you can already see what's coming. But in that, I know that in their lashing out, is that they're crying out for some type of support and stability and help. But my first instinct is to not only protect my inner child, but also the kids. That's the fruit that I have to protect first. Within myself, pouring into myself, and then to realize, like, And with that, the discernment shows at a point in time where I recognize what survival was in those kids, I'm no longer doing that. Because survival will also have you being impulsive, reactive. No, I got to see the bigger picture. Because you don't know where those kids are, and you also don't know the spiritual warfare, the anger, the impulsiveness, and so forth. The way stuff is now, people who don't know that world, because ain't nothing like, the reason why the beauty of having someone that grew up in like that, I'm not saying it has to be like that, but the beauty of how the world is shifting is that people, the world will ostracize or even devalue or even like cast out people who were trauma ridden, or who who was deemed the last because they didn't have certain things. But now the world is about to see y'all are not exempt as well. It didn't matter what you were born into. You are no more or less valued than those people. Because your inability to be able to see them and connect with them shows your inability to be connected to source, to the divine. Because how you going to say we're all made in the image of God or source, but yet, make that make sense? So those who can't see the source within and know what's in tune are able to connect the dots like that. That's the beauty of life, is being a student. So again, seeing that is that in that moment, in standing up for myself, I'm realizing, like, hold on, I'm the bridge. Most of y'all are afraid to do that shit. Most of y'all are cowards. You coward in moments like that. So when I see people who are afraid to step in certain positions, and y'all are afraid because, oh, they might do this to this and this to me. You are a coward. You're a coward of yourself. Your own fears are destroying you. And you don't realize through your energetic putting out those projections of fears or holding on to it, you're going to attract it. How are you going to attract it? Look at the world right now. That which you had is going to bring you to the awareness of that which you can lose, just so you can be aligned with people who you deem that you will never be like. Isn't that funny? Isn't that interesting? That's why I love this shit. That's the beauty of people, where I can say the only difference is I see people. How can I word this? I see, like, I'm not gonna say not more valuable, but the value in those people that are deemed as last and less fortunate. What I can say is this: how the divine are going to operate and use them, because I can relate, because I was there, are the very people who you can't get shit past now. Because discernment, spiritual discernment, is one thing. Because due to the fact that they were operating their lower chakras, operating in this, they wasn't operating in their discernment, wasn't spiritually in tune, emotionally in tune, and so forth. Now that things are shifted, these are going to be the very people who plant seeds, such as myself, for those future generations. Because why the fuck would I be dependent on people who are obviously showing me that they don't even care about themselves, their well-being, they're not even connected to the divine, because of their inability to connect with themselves and to the root of everything, to take accountability. So why at all would not be discerning of y'all ass? Doesn't matter your color or creed. Doesn't matter if you're what type of leader you want to be portrayed on this earthly plane. Please. Because you don't even see the value in those kids and those souls, those innocent. Because you don't even see yourself innocent. So for one, I am just as much as discerned when it comes to you. And when y'all try to approach me or try to offer me something, you got to come through me to get to those people. That's what the divine, I don't know where, it is what it is. Because that's the thing about when it comes to leadership. See, and the reason I say that is because when I say me, as in we, as the divine and the ancestors known and unknown for the highest good, is because the time is up. The time has come for the people that know, that are aware that who's not for the people. And it ain't got nothing, I keep telling y'all, this ain't got nothing to do with this. Because those who know are very much aware of the people who have been in position, who chose not to do something. And like I told y'all going to watch them lose everything, only to gain more of enlightenment, of awareness of the bigger picture. Because some of those people that are in position, and y'all don't realize, I told you, in your survival mode, it was perceived or given this illusion that they were thriving. That's why y'all say, oh, the elite, the elite, the elite. Bitch, there's a cosmic elite. There are people more high ranking. that ain't going for that shit. You can say it's cold and so forth. It's just as much as they watch those people suffer, you gotta allow their ass to suffer and go through their lessons, to go through their enlightenment. And that's their choosing. That's their choice. That's their free will. Because just as much as they had free will to watch those people that was less fortunate, or they devalue them and so forth, and it doesn't matter their status, I don't give a fuck their title. Because the divine being warned y'all about this. Just as Malcolm said, when y'all, what? They never had to go through certain people to get to reach people that were in the reservations on sacred land, because y'all call it the hood. It ain't nothing. It's just evolving. Y'all still those same people with that DNA. The only thing that was lost, or the ones who were your leaders, were still those who held the DNA of those chiefs and chiefess and high priests and all that other shit, and people, seers or whatever you want to call it, spiritualists and so forth. They still been here. You know what happened? They goofy ass was still trying to pretend or try to manipulate the masses. That's why I tell you this don't matter. They still were trying to do things just for a false sense of empowerment. And now their time is up. Because that's the thing about restoration, recalibration. Ain't no more going through them. Because at a moment, their time was up. At a time, they were gatekeepers, way makers. And y'all got to think about it. If these are people who are way makers, what the fuck are they making a way for? To keep you in dysfunction? To keep you in balance? To keep you confused? To keep you on crutches? To keep you supported on a system that's already collapsing? So your way makers are done. Your gatekeepers, the gates are collapsed. Those who built your infrastructures. Y'all call them, what y'all call them? Your Freemasonries. Your grid builders. Your Eastern Stars. What else? Your Scottish Rites. All the other shit, your hidden covens. Bro, let me tell you. It's a wrap. That shit is like blowing dust now. It has no power. You ever try to blow dust instead? You know how to try to blow magic on somebody? Man, you'd be like, what the fuck was that? Magic just the weakest of motherfuckers. And they know it. Ain't shit folk can do no more. I know specifically, a lot of us know specifically who are who. Who is who? And you keep trying to send shit. I'm going to tell you the greatest thing you can do, especially through a healing journey or enlightenment journey. Find laughter. And the reason why this is so valuable is because laughter and joy is not dependent on nobody else. When you look at the powers that used to be in the manipulation and shit, it was to keep you from that. Think about that shit. Ponder on that. I need y'all to ponder on that. All of this was a focus that in your lower nature, in to keep you in the lower nature, is to keep you focused on more pain than joy. I need y'all to focus more on fucking joy. Joy. Find joy in the littlest things. I remember there was times survival would have your ass programming to see the worst of everything. Now it's like, as Bobby Hemmett said, I'm channeling Bobby. Bobby was saying, it's like, man, y'all gonna laugh. You gonna be laughing so much. Let me tell you something. In the past year and a half, 2 years, I laughed so much to where I thought like it was fucking crazy. But y'all don't realize that's the beauty of what's returning and being restored. Y'all keep thinking it's fucking material shit. The essence of who you are is joy. It's peace. Taking back your power from the trauma you experienced is taking back your fucking joy. What do you want to regain? What is the best revenge? Y'all keep saying y'all listen to the best revenge is your paper. The best revenge is your joy. I'm going to laugh my way out of this fucking body and move on to the next life, whatever it is, with joy, knowing that I regained my joy, my sense of essence, my authenticity, my sovereignty of something no one else can control. I got you if I can keep you looping through your fucking pain, giving you a fucking slave narrative, giving you shit that keeps your brain wired in pain. And you wonder why some of y'all, Bobby again, as speaking arts, music, art, music, and writings. You want to know why certain authors make so much money off certain books? Look at what the genre is, or look at what is. This is why so many books are made. It's literally to target certain women. How many of you know? And this was coming. How many books that you know? Look at all the storylines of betrayals and shit like that. That's why they make so much money off of it, because they know that y'all brains and then you operate in that. But guess what's coming down the pipeline, baby? Love. What about joy? I know what you're missing. Because the divine has told me. I know what y'all missing. And you really think it was out there. Whole time is inside of you. Be ye like a child. Be innocent. Y'all take this shit so serious. You taking it so serious. And it's not that type of serious. You're here to enjoy a human experience through the emotions, through whatever it is, through the spiritual aspect. The more spiritual you become, you will realize that there's a balance between what the fuck am I trying to take this shit serious for? One of my elders said, can you put shit back in your ass? Let that shit go. Whatever happened to you, let it go. Because a part of you channeling and operating through and navigating through that emotion is to get back to your essence. A lot of the music, a lot of that shit is geared towards and coming from pain. Yes, purpose in it, but it stays there, that low frequency of certain shit. It didn't teach y'all to come out of that shit. It didn't teach you to operate in the heart, as the ancients talked about. They knew through the way. It didn't matter if you were operating here, because some people are operating up here in these chakras and so forth. They still got to live through love. Because a lot of people get in their ego. They get in their higher mind, and they get in a certain form, and they want to stay there. No, this experience will teach you also that you came here to be loved and to also operate in that. How do you learn that? Through experiences. That's why you be like a child. That was me representing the fact of like, why the fuck would I sit here and do what the world's doing when the divine said, what have you been doing that brings you joy? What brings you joy? Not brings, what initiates the joy in you? What's that spark inside of you that you know that no one else knows the depths? And that's your purpose. For me, my speaking, when motherfuckers say you talk too much, your mouth gonna get you in trouble. Fuck you. That's your projection, your perspective, because you don't communicate like I do. You don't operate like I do. You don't even love your life. You don't even experience this shit. You don't even know what living is in a realm that's dead. Because all of it's dying and being reborn. So again, these are the people I was connected with. People, I'm like, damn. I had to. You gotta realize a lot of these people. That's the point that you're going to get to, is realizing like, bro, that's what as this shift is about. I told you my art, that's something that it comes so naturally, so effortless. That's the shit that's so, not even just akashic, but so priceless. The things you can't put a price on is what's valuable. Think about it. Reflect on the memories, the joys, the laughters. Just find a way to laugh about some shit. Find a way to laugh at it. We're trying pain to gain. From all those experiences, I gained a whole new perspective. I gained a whole new approach on life. And most importantly, that little boy, that essence inside of me, everywhere I go, he goes. All the different versions of me. That's what keeps me not living in survival no more. Now, when I recognize with other people, what they're bringing into their life, and for a lot of those kids is that they're impulsive. When they're being impulsive like that, I realize like they're fighting against something that has nothing to do with me, but I still have to operate in that integrity and righteous anger and let you know, like, out of love, I'm going to let you know about yourself. I haven't got nothing to prove to you, but at the same moment, this ain't that. And that's the seed that's planted. Because then when they grow up, they remember. They'll remember if they choose to come to that awareness of realizing like, oh, this man was just doing. Because someone who loves themselves and someone who, like, one thing I realized, like, in growing up and being able to recognize bullshit, that's the person that has the best interest for you. Now look at these folks out here. They so fucking misleading. You start to realize like the stuff that they are attached to and so forth, keeping them from learning about who they are. They have given y'all a false perception of empowerment, because empowerment comes from that place of authenticity and joy and love for self, knowledge of self. Now a lot of these people, their whole identity is built around the opposite of that. The acceptance, the validation. And most of their life, even through what they built and everything, centered around money, centered around a whole lot of shit like that, guess what? They are going through an identity crisis. Those people that y'all say that was less valuable, they are, bruh. Ain't nothing like a motherfucker who is spiritually in tune and street smart or have survival skills or survival instinct. Because once they recognize that survival instinct was actually, and they can correlate that with spiritual discernment, it's a wrap. And cut. And that's what's happening right now. And cut. That's what's coming online for the people. You know, Bobby said the great thing that's coming down the pipeline for indigenous people. Not the ones who try to play as if they was for everybody or for just indigenous people. No, I'm talking about the ones who everybody push aside and be like, oh, that ain't shit, that ain't shit. Okay. Now, when that discernment kicks in and they become more enlightened, man, what? We parlaying in this motherfucker. It's everything don't shift now. And folks know. The all-stars of the dog star. It's a wrap. Like I said, I had to cry and ponder on that, but at the same time, able to counter it and being able to see the fruits of my labor and laugh and be like, yo, like this shit it's hilarious. At the same time, it's just like I don't have to stay in the trauma. I can let it go. I can create, because that's what most of, like I said, that pain and that gain comes from the fact of how I'm able to transmute that what I've experienced. That's alchemy, bitch. That's alchemy. Now think about the people who just stay in it. Survival, lower nature, and so forth. That's what they want. And the more and more people that come out of that, everything collapses. Then you rebuild a life. Then you go through recalibration. Then things start to come online. Then everybody begins, their whole perspective of life start to change. Then you don't have a lot of this shit no more. You don't have, having to grow up in the fact that look over your fucking shoulder because of police or being in environments and stuff. Man, I don't live through all of that. Like, especially when it comes to that frequency of survival. And I gotta tell you, it's like now I'm like, whoa. Your brain now is processing, your body is now processing all of that shit, and it's coming up. Most people don't know how to allow that to happen. Most people have never given an opportunity. That's why I say I see through you fuckers. I see through y'all who have the influence to change lives without it being publicized, without it being put on fucking social media and shit. You think you're a judgment? Y'all don't even realize how many people are in survival. They're not willing to give up for the sake of coming into higher ranking spiritually. Because they so consumed by their material status, their earthly status, they're not willing to give up. They don't know the depths of evolution, of alchemy, willing to give up and surrender all the things they had. They remind me of Buddha. They remind me of other people. They're willing to give up their what they call earthly riches. What is it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose his own soul? Y'all are seeing people right now that are fucking soulless. That's what that is. Because everything that they have, they're not willing to give up a part of themselves that inwardly that is dry, is rotten. And they don't even realize how much it's affecting all of them. Like I keep trying to tell you, I keep picking up on people who are certain artists and everything, who know the influence that they have. Who know the influence they have to actually, through their music, and actually can speak life into women. Women who actually had the opportunity as artists who can speak life into men. People in certain positions that are accumulated so much to where abundance is, because that's the codes that are coming online, the matriarchal, that actually want to actually see people. May not have everybody don't gotta have a million, but to actually see everybody well off or abundant. See, that's the thing, to be able to see the forest from the trees. Because what most people won't get is this. Do you know how you position your generation when you actually plant seeds for other generations other than your own? See, you just think it's just about you and your family. They don't fool y'all in that. Because the ones who were in position would do anything to keep generations from accumulating other things. And in that process, you should now be discerning to show who the fuck has been the rotten fruit. Who the one who's been given the illusion of false empowerment. Because for a man to sit there and not to want to see other mothers and children prosper and live in abundance says a lot about his integrity, his character, and so forth. Women as well. That's what's coming. And that's what's already happening. And that's who you're going to see who be affected by a lot of stuff. I told y'all. Just like that. People are going to go from here to here. Because in their mind's eye or somewhere, they actually didn't even assume that they will be there. And a lot of these transits are going to highlight that. Because if you don't care for the betterment of me and not willing to pour into me and my inner child and my kids, it ain't got nothing to do with obligation. It just shows me everything I need to see. And sometimes we need to see certain things so we know what not to do. So we be discerning. Because what ends up happening is that as this person's character truly gets revealed, because everything, when you live in truth and authenticity, the truth comes to the light. Those who have the light within them, those who have acknowledged and seen the light. That's what stardom is, because you can't have a star without darkness. So it's those who have acknowledged the dark and become the light. The alchemical aspect of the yin and yang, one and the same. The people that y'all have seen are the people who It's not to say that they don't recognize the light that they have. It's more of the imbalance of they want to be in the light so much that they forgot about their darkness, which are their roots, which their roots in their darkness is a part of their matriarchal makeup, genetic makeup. So a lot of what you see in certain men reflects their matriarchal. Doesn't matter who they are. It reflects their integrity in whomever they've been around in their foundations. So when you look at bloodlines and when you see how certain people operate, it makes a lot of sense. Shit goes much more deeper than what's just on the surface. Because a lot of people aren't here to demonstrate that which is that of the divine. Just for certain people to come along and show y'all. Oh, and then in that showing, then they want to all of a sudden, through their inability to live in authenticity and integrity, want to almost like come and hang on to the coattail or be in the presence. That's why spiritual discernment is going to be very important as well. That's why even through the fact of in people's inability to be supportive through certain people's traumas and shit, or through experiences, be very discerning in the approach, and the divine will reveal it to you. Because a lot of people of certain status, I told you, they're going to even want to run and try to be a part and stand in the light to try to stay relevant. But in that, in your ability to know that which you have dealt with in the darkness to become the light, to acknowledge, to see yourself, then you're going to be able to see the shit that they have not acknowledged. That's spiritual discernment. That's intuition. That's that love for self, being able to go inward and see who you are. To see that connection of, oh, yeah, nah, I don't want to be a part of what you got going on. Oh, that money or whatever you're doing, I don't want to be a part of that dealings. Because as soon as I try to subject to that, boom, you're going to try to use me as leverage. Nah, I'm good on that. So that's all I got to say. The beauty of what it is for a lot of us who thought it was a curse to actually live out and live through our traumas to now come into this self-awareness and more enlightenment, or, you know, the beauty of this. It's just as seeing the analogy of a tree grow from a seed, you know, a seed grow into a tree, or a flower that had to blossom over time. And then you have to be able to be paying attention to you watering yourself, being more compassionate and love for yourself, and then being able to also see who came along and watered you, even when they had nothing else to give but water. And that water can be demonstrated in their words, in their actions. And even the ones who stayed at a distance, who knew what you were going to blossom into. These are the people I told you of certain status. And you don't got to be like them, but you still got to be discerning and honor that and love yourself. See, because I had to learn too where the balance between love and logic and stuff like that. No, this time around, your contract for some of y'all is with yourself first. Before, past life or something, whatever you want to call it, could have been for this person or that person. But you also got to be discerning even through whether you want to call them lovers and people and stuff like that. You got to be discerning through everything, because a lot of people, again, one of the greatest things I will remember is that someone saying that and people's inability to evolve is to remind you to evolve. Because everyone's had the opportunity this time. And that's why what I mean by people losing everything is that it's a part of the divine stripping their status. That which is on the material, because it happens spiritually first. So stripping their status is just because of their inability to evolve, or is an initiation for them to evolve. Peace and blessings. Shalom.